Hello friends, welcome to this Top Tips day, and a warm welcome to Sam Flynn, who
Hello.
I don't know I don't know whether a lot of you know about Sam Flynn, but she's an amazing social media trainer who's had loads of experience, haven't you, Sam?
Well, yeah, 11 and a half years now I've been wrapped up in the world of social media training. So yeah, absolutely.
And what we're going to talk about today is mobile phone usage, because I realized that I was like scrolling, and I have to, for my business, post things like most business owners do, especially since this, the pandemic thing. But what we need to do is actually learn how to limit it, and that is so hard when you are used to using it all the time. And so many people are, aren't they? I mean, there must be thousands and thousands of people online all the time.
Yeah.
And it's disturbing. It's disturbing mental health. Tell me how it affects mental health, Sam, please.
Well, there's lots and lots of different ways it affects mental health, really. But probably firstly, if we look at the time issue, so the average UK iPhone user spends 4 hours a day on their phone. Now, obviously, that's the average. So some people might be an hour, but it also means some people might be 12 hours, 13 hours plus a day on their phone. So that's the first issue, really, is it's taking our time away from things that fill up our cup and that bring joy to our life. And I think that's the same with so many addictions, isn't it? Is that we're drawn to something that actually isn't really giving us much fulfillment in life. Of course, there are those little moments where there's a funny TikTok video that makes us giggle, or, whatever, or a nice message we've received from someone. But really, for 4 hours a day, it's not giving us the joy that so many other activities could be giving us. So it's taking us away from that fulfillment. And I certainly know when I was probably at the height of my addiction a couple of years ago during the pandemic, that I would finish a day feeling flat and unaccomplished, because it became the procrastination tool. It became the thing I was drawn to escape. But actually that escapism meant all the things I wanted to do weren't getting done. And I think that in itself can really leave you feeling low. And then it's what we're seeing on our phones as well. If you're spending hours and hours scrolling, particularly on social media every day, then unfortunately the way the algorithms work is they do tend to deliver things that might make us feel negative or angry. They might leave us feeling like we are not worthy, or the lower self-esteem, like all these people are doing these wonderful things, and what about me? I'm not doing that. Or in the sense of a business owner, it might be all these people are having this amazing business success and I'm not, when we all know that, we can all go and say what we want on social media. It doesn't actually have to be true. So that is a huge factor as well, that kind of imposter syndrome and feeling like everyone's doing bigger and better things than we are. And the more you kind of get caught in that infinite scroll of looking through that, I think the more you end up on that slippery slope to just that lower self-esteem and those feelings of worthlessness.
Yeah, everything. I totally relate to this, everything. Because I think mostly I go to it for connection, for social connection, for input on things, or for a dopamine hit, isn't it, really?
It is, yeah. I mean, that's the reason we're all addicted to our phones, is the dopamine hit we get from them.
And the more and you get a dopamine hit, and then you want more and more and more of it, so you're scrolling. Hopefully it's not like that in certain Facebook groups like mine, but it's it is possible that you join all these groups, don't you? And if you want to kind of connect with people because of business, they say, 15 minutes before, 15, and then you do your post, and then 15 minutes after that, that's half an hour, and you haven't even had your social time. So really social connection and things like that, I totally relate to.
I mean, there's the positive side, of course, as well. That connection's a good thing for mental health, particularly, for instance, if you live alone or you work on your own, like so many of us small business owners do. That connection is really useful a lot of the time as well. So don't get me wrong, I'm not an anti-phone person at all, or anti-social media. Of course, I think they're both wonderful, but it's about using them in a mindful way and in a time economical way to make sure we're not just sucked into spending all day, every day on there.
Fab. So you're running courses on limiting mobile phone use, even though you're a social media trainer. So tell me how you went into that. I mean, it's just kind of,
it's a bit of a paradox, isn't it?
Yeah. Paradox.
It's something I've probably been thinking about for several years. And I think it's got even worse over the years with the algorithm changes on social media. And it's kind of like you said, all the advice is things like, you know, engage with people for 30 minutes before you post and 30 minutes after you post. And then you're thinking, but you're really asking people here to not only come up with amazing content, but then they've got to spend all this time engaging with people for the sake of engaging, to tick a box, and spending ages scrolling to find people to engage with. And it just, it really started to click with me that this isn't an effective way to win business. There's got to be a better way than spending hours on social media. So it's something I've always been really focused on in the training I do, is how can you limit your time but maximize your results using social media, and acknowledging that there are lots of other marketing methods out there as well. But I think the main reason I sort of made this shift is during the pandemic, when I was stuck at home with my 3 daughters, my husband was out working all day, trying to run a business, and I couldn't work on a computer because my youngest was 17 months and she just bashed the keys if I had my computer around. So I realized my phone became my main business tool, and I was doing so much work, replying to emails, writing posts, editing videos, everything was happening on my phone, that my phone felt like it was permanently in my hand. And I think that really started to heighten my addiction to it. And it was when my middle daughter, who would have been 5 at the time, she's just turned 7, so she must have been 5, nearly 6 at the time, said to me, "Mum, you're always on your phone. You're not listening to me, you're on your phone." That it was like a dagger to the heart of like, oh my gosh, she's right. What it looks like to them as non-phone users is I'm giving all my attention to this thing. It's easy for me to say, yes, but I'm working. But to them, it just looks like I'm giving all my attention to this piece of technology and not to them. And from that moment, I dramatically reduced my screen time. I took actions to make sure that, I was keeping my phone out of reach. It wasn't next to me all the time, and so on. And, I really reduced my screen time down. And then I started researching it and reading books about why we're addicted and the impact it's having on our society, the impact it's having on us as individuals. And it just has become a passion for me, really. And even though it sounds like it's the polar opposite to social media training, I think actually they kind of go nicely together to help people understand that, yes, social media is a great marketing tool, but no, you don't need to be on there for hours and hours every day in order for it to be a great marketing tool.
Yeah, I think you're right. I am kind of limiting and trying to get organized slowly but surely into planning content. And I think that is the thing, is to plan content ahead. If you are a business owner, which some
definitely
some aren't. Yeah. So I actually did go on this first course, Sam, didn't I?
You were one of my guinea pigs, yes.
And I managed to attend. I made a point of attending live every session, because you buy these courses and you have the option of attending live or not. And I was like, right, this one I am going to attend live, because I'm passionate about trying to limit, mostly because my hands were hurting from holding it. I've got sore hands as it is,
RSI,
whatever it is, arthritis or whatever. So so it's literally, your wrists can hurt, your hands ache, your RSI or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's why I really was passionate about attending live. And I loved the little nuggets that came out of it, like making a home for it. So so I have a little stand on my windowsill or next to my printer or something where I know that it is.
That's where it lives.
It's this security thing isn't so hot though, with is it PD2 or something it's called. So the security goes to your phone, gets the code, and then comes back again. So you can end up actually moving more.
I know. Every time you try and log into something, it sends a
which
message
isn't
to
a
your
bad
phone.
thing. It's not a bad thing.
No, get your steps up. Yeah, that's it. You know, it's limiting laziness, isn't it? Having to actually move to your phone rather than it following, you know, you round.
So I've found lots of nuggets, and I keep thinking about them. So it's been really, really helpful. So you're doing a shorter version of the one that I did, aren't you, Sam?
Yes. So I already have out there one for business owners, which is called Use Your Phone Less for Business Success, which is, I mean, to be honest, the content is applicable to everyone, but I particularly talk about how, you know, it's taking time away from your business, impacting your mental health is going to have a negative impact on your business too, and all the other factors like focus and attention, and what our phones are doing to our brains and limiting our ability to focus, and then steps to reduce your phone use. So yeah, that is in existence at the moment, a short course that includes both a video and an ebook version. And then within the next month, I'm going to be creating one that is really just applicable to any phone user, anyone who wants to reduce their screen time and give themselves the motivation to do so. Because I think the important thing with these courses is I don't just tell people how to reduce their phone use, but why. And I think that's important to understand the why bit first, to kind of get that motivation to go, actually, this is negatively impacting my life, and now I need to change. So that's sort of how the courses will be. That's how the upcoming course will be split into, okay, why do you need to do it? And here's how you can do it. So that is in production within the next kind of month. So yeah, if you're interested in getting your hands on it, then do either direct message me or send me an email, sam@samflynn.co.uk, and I will let you know as soon as it is live and ready to purchase.
Fabulous. I'm really excited about this. In fact, you know, when I was doing the course, I was in Oxfam in Chorlton, and I was on the phone, and I looked at my screen. I've got a screen saver which says, why am I picking up my phone, right? Yeah. And I showed it to the guy on the till. I said, you know, look at this. And then the guy at the back of me said, oh, that's really interesting. That's a good idea. And I said, well, I'm on this course. And he said, I need this. I'm going on it too much. And that was just a random stranger who.
And I think everyone relates, don't they? I think, you know, whenever I've spoken to anyone about this, they all say the same thing. Yeah, I use my phone too much. And that's the reality of the apps and what they've created. And, you know, it's not really our fault. All of the apps have been designed to be addictive, and as such, we are constantly reaching for our phone and looking for our phone and wondering where our phone is, because our brain, as you say, is always after that next dopamine hit of like, oh, if I pick up my phone, I'll get that little rush of pleasure, but it just doesn't last. And then we go again and again and again, and it doesn't leave us feeling happy, you know, any sort of level of happiness after, I don't think. So no. It is really important.
And interestingly, when I scroll through social media on Facebook on my desktop, it does not have the same effect. You are not scrolling like you would on a mobile phone.
It's, isn't it?
It's incredible. Yeah. So that is, you know, that's another thing that you can do instead, is have your little hit up on your laptop or.
Yeah. The great thing about using it on desktop is it doesn't go with you, doesn't it? You know, it doesn't leave the house with you. You're not getting it out in a waiting room or the playground while your kids are playing, or, you know, even in the car, as you see many people shockingly do as they're driving. You know, you can't do that with your computer. And I think that's another issue with the mobile phone, really, is that it's so mobile that we always have this addictive thing in our pockets or our handbags or wherever we keep it. So that mobile nature is a downside to it in a way.
It is, yeah. I mean, but aren't they coming back like the normal touchpad ones, you know?
They are, yeah. Apparently there's a lot of teenagers now who only get the ones that you can just text and call on, and that's it. They're getting quite popular.
Right, yeah. Because I'm sorely tempted. In fact, I'm sorely tempted to get my sat nav out of the loft and install it into the car, so I don't have to have that phone on there. It's all these little things that you think, oh, that could happen, and and using it as an alarm. What's wrong with having a digital alarm clock?
I think this is the problem. I mean, and there's so many excuses, isn't there? Yeah, but I use my phone for this. Well, you can actually get one of them for £3, or, like you say, oh, well, I use it for Google Maps. Yeah, but you've probably got a sat nav somewhere, like you say, in the loft, or even if you don't, some sat navs now are really low cost. And, remember the old days of printing out a map, or even getting out an A to Z, there's always a solution, isn't there? That our phones have made our lives so easy, which has been great in some respects, but in other respects, they've made it too easy that we've become so reliant on them that they're always with us.
Yeah, that's it. So what's your phone usage now, Sam?
Well, it depends really what I've got going on and what I'm up to. And to be fair, sometimes I do watch series on my phone. If my husband's watching something on the telly that I'm not interested in, I'll often do some cooking and put something on my phone. So it does kind of change week by week, but typically I'm usually around the 2 hour a day mark on average, which is a vast difference to, I mean, I was definitely up around the 6 hour mark at the height of the pandemic. So yeah, some weeks it can be as low as under an hour an hour a day average. But right now I'm around the 2 hour a day mark, which really is still, even if you think about that, sometimes it's like, wow, that's still relatively high, but it's half the average of a typical user. And as I always say to people, because some people now have said to me, oh gosh, I can't look at my phone because Sam's here. It's not about never using it. It's just about being more mindful when you do and making sure you're not caught in that endless scroll.
Yeah. And there are so many easy top tips for reducing the temptation.
There is.
There really are. So, I mean, my Facebook ticks along because I don't log out of it. So I'm still on 8 hours, but I reduced it from 11. So I'm going the right way.
I mean, as I say, it's not about going from,
so it's hard to.
Yeah, because it's not about going from 11 hours down to 1 hour a day straight off, and I think the key with anything like this is to gradually do step by step, and kind of going from 11 hours to 8 hours is amazing. That's 3 hours less a day, that's huge. But then, in a month or so time, you might be thinking, actually, maybe I could reduce that down to 6 hours, let's take the next step. Whereas, it's scary thinking, well, let's go from 11 hours a day to 1 hour a day. It's a huge leap. It's a huge, complete shift in your actions and what you're doing. So I think any reduction should be celebrated and notified that you've got those 3 hours back for you every day.
Yeah. I'm kind of thinking it's a bit like Weight Watchers, right? So you don't kind of starve yourself.
Yeah.
You just kind of limit your treats.
Exactly that, isn't it? Yeah.
Do you like that scenario?
You end up binging. Yeah.
And then every so often,
use completely, you'll be there scrolling like frantically after a few days. So yeah, it's just that
often you're allowed to binge, aren't you? Is that right?
Absolutely. I mean, I set a bit of time aside every day. Pretty much when I have my lunch, I'll be like, right, I'm just going to go on social media and have a scroll for 20 minutes. And I allow myself to do it. But it's in that knowledge that I'm doing it. And then once I've done it, I'm going, right, that's me done for the day. I don't need to go on social media now. I've had my little catch up. I've had my little scroll through. I've engaged with a few people, but I don't need to be doing that every hour on the hour, and it's allowing yourself that time, and acknowledging that, okay, it is part of my business and part of my life, and I will be using it, but I'm not letting it control me. I'm in control of it. And that shift makes a massive difference.
Yeah, absolutely. So what's next? I mean, what can you do next after doing these little half-hour courses, are they?
Yeah, they're just half hour. So they're really just an introduction to help people understand the why they need to change and how they can start to change. But the next step for it will be, in a few months' time, I'll be back running a program similar to you came along to, which is the live sessions, where it's much more interactive. We can chat through any issues you're having. And I think that's the important thing, is it's quite easy to buy a course that you watch on your own, less easy to take action. Whereas when there's other people there helping you along the way, helping you with problems you have in reducing your use, then it is much more actionable. So there'll be more programs in down the line where I will be helping you live, and we'll do that over several weeks. And the promise on that is, if you don't reduce your phone use by at least 25% by the end of the program, that you get your money back. So it's really is designed to help you reduce your phone use. And I'm also looking at working in businesses as well, and working with teams and helping them reduce their phone use, because of course with a lot of home working and then people going back into the offices, you know, the downside of home working is that people can spend so long on their phones, and so helping organizations and teams within organizations reduce their phone use as well.
Procrastination, hey?
We're always looking for that procrastination tool.
Putting off the inevitable. So yeah, this I'm very excited about this. I have to say, Sam, I've been learning, as like you, throughout the pandemic, all about this from different people, and like, yeah, this needs to be told and shared. So that's why I invited you on today, because I think it's so important. And hopefully we won't need extra, you know, pairs of glasses and things, wrist supports and all this kind of thing, necks, massages and all this kind of thing. All this relates as well to on our bodies, wear and tear. So
absolutely, let's make this shift happen and get people living more fulfilled lives.
Yeah, so our laughter exercise, Sam, is like scrolling the mobile phone. So shall we do this one?
Go on then.
And then we're going to throw it. Really. We're going to throw it away. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Brilliant.
I have actually done that before.
That's great.
Thank you very much for sharing your knowledge and time with us. And I will share your link as well for your email address. So hopefully people who are interested will get in touch. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Have a great day, everyone. Bye for now. Bye. Bye.